the matters arising, segment of the show, that's the AM, the news review, to review what the papers are reporting, and other pertinent issues coming up in this country. Today, we've been joined by, so help me, is it Nichema? Nichema. Okay, Nichema Bella Alamzi, right? Yes. Okay, he's member of parliament for Chana Paga constituency.
If the Nichema is difficult, manage Bella Alamzi.
Bella Alamzi. Okay, and then Alfred Thompson is a member of the MPP's Communications Directorate. Gentlemen, good morning and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Let's just do a few of what the online portals are reporting by starting from myjoyonline.com and get you what the news that is trending or that are trending on that particular portal. If you go into myjoyonline.com now, first is where no law will silence journalists under my watch, says Speaker Bagbin. You remember the ruling by the court recently, which is preventing an investigative journalist from showing a documentary he's done because someone who the documentary is affect went to court to get an injunction against the journalist, and there's been a lot of reaction to it. The Ghana Journalists Association has spoken. They've spoken up against this particular ruling. Now the Speaker Bagbin is saying that no law will silence journalists under his watch. Let's get details from that particular story there. Again, Vehicle Enforcement Association files injunction to restrain DVLA over planned rollout of new number plates. Oh, some of us want to get a new number plate, just relax for us, but get details of that story there. Charging illegal fares is a crime. Passengers must resist, GPRT says, and POO issues ultimatum for illegal takeover of Ghana waterlands in Ashanti. All right, so many other stories on myjoyonline.com there. Get onto that portal for more news. Okay, let's do City Newsroom as well and get you what's happening there, and then I'll take you to BBC. City Newsroom, it says BOG increases annual license fee for SDIs to 50,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, so that is that. Repeating Baumia won't change MPP's fortunes, Brian Achampon says. MPP's 2024 laws exposed governance candidate weaknesses, Brian Achampon again. Guta urges government to clamp down on foreign dominance in retail trade. And I agree with this one. Ghanaians are being played out from that particular front. Ghana High Commissioner engages Ghanaian entrepreneurs in the UK and vacate Asokwa Ahoju stretch or face forced removal. Kumasi Mayor to traders. Those are the stories on City Newsroom. Let's go on to bbc.com now and see what's happening there as well. Emailed by A from Balmoral urged Ghislaine Maxwell for inappropriate friends. Epstein files show. Oh, Epstein, okay. Epstein files show. Trump trips, a fake video, and 10 possible co-conspirators. Takeaways from new Epstein files. Interesting there. I mean, the one from Balmoral is even interesting because it has to do with the British monarch. They get details from that. Okay. On Zoom as well for the show, we have Dr. Kwame Asasante. He's a political scientist and a lecturer at the University of Ghana. He's joining us. Dr. John Osai Kwapong is a CDD fellow. Good morning to you, gentlemen, on Zoom, and thanks for coming.
Good morning to you, Kojo.
Great.
Good morning, Kojo, and good morning to Dr. Osai Kwapong and our viewers out there.
Good morning, Doc.
Great. Okay. Let me start from studio and I'll come to you guys on Zoom. Let me start with you, Alamzi, Honorable Alamzi. I'm sure you've gone through the review that the committee has, the recommendations they put forth.
Yes.
What's your takeaway from the recommendations?
Okay, thank you very much. I wish to say good morning to your cherished viewers, and the good people of China Paga constituency. The committee has proposed far-reaching amendments to the 1992 Constitution. We all agree that the Constitution has been the ground norm of this nation for more than 33 years, or 32 years or so. It has enjoyed efficacy in Ghana for so long, and we all respect that. But I know you believe and you agree with me that the life we had around 1992 is not the same today. So it is fair and good that the amendments are being proposed to government. It is not only one sector. It concerns the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, public service, decentralization to they made proposals on it, human rights, public finance, and national security. It entails a lot. It entails a lot. And there are things I personally agree, and there are others that I disagree in a way. But I'm still waiting for my government. I'm waiting for the stand.
Okay.
Because I'm not an island. I'm with a party and a government. So, but I have my own reservations on some of the proposals.
What reservations do you have?
For instance, I've always been a fan of strict separation of powers.
Okay.
But it comes with advantages and disadvantages. The advantages, we can talk about checks and balances. But one thing that I was expecting to see was that for now, if you say we are going to practice strict separation of powers and no MP will be made a minister. I've been in Parliament for a year, almost a year or so. And I can tell you that institutional memory will run away from us for some time, because I know most of our senior members in Parliament, because most of them once, it is, the Constitution states that majority of the ministers must come from Parliament. Yeah. So most of our senior members, they stay in Parliament because they know that there's a likelihood that they will be made ministers. If not that, some of them wouldn't have gone back to the constituencies again. But they know very well that that is the avenue to become a minister easily. And if most of them leave, I can tell you that what we, the young ones, are learning from them, we cannot get it in any institution to learn. So I'm afraid the institutional memory might run away from us after 2028 or so.
That is if the government agrees to that particular recommendation.
And I was expecting the committee to, because now if you say you want strict separation of powers, then at least they should have proposed that the speaker should be nominated and proposed by Parliament.
Okay.
So that executive will not be having a hand in it. Because if you are telling me you want me to take off my hands from you, then it is only fair that you also take off your hands from me. You don't need to come and propose a speaker so that we, because it is parliamentarians that are going to vote, there should have been a proposal or a destiny in it that now speakers are going to be, or they must be parliamentarians. Okay. Even if you are, and that one will,
so if you say there must be sitting parliamentarians?
Sitting parliamentarians. And that is going to be another motivation. Because if you become the Speaker of Parliament, you become the third gentleman in Ghana. It will motivate some of our seniors to stay. with the hope that I can become the third, as in the words of Alban Bagbin, number 3 in Ghana. So that would have been very perfect. I agree with the strict separation of powers that they are proposing. But these are some of the things that they should have.
Just to chip in,
they should have taken into
their proposal. They stated that the speaker and the third gentleman, that's usually from president vice to the speaker, will change, because they are proposing if the president is not in and the vice is not in, the speaker should not be made acting president. That is only
if the speaker is from the opposing party.
Yes.
Yes.
Only if.
Yes.
If
there's an like if. There's a clause there. That if the speaker is from, like it happened during the last government, it meant that if the president and vice president are away, Bagby will not automatically act as a president, but cabinet will elect one of them to act.
It should be a straight, and it shouldn't be if or if not.
Oh, but it helps. So that if you have a situation like it happened last time, then...
I agree, there could be that situation, but I'm saying that, like he's proposing that, yes, it's good to take, if you are taking MPs away from ministerial positions, then let us do it in such a way that the speaker too should stay as a speaker.
Oh,
so if the president is not in town, one of the cabinet ministers, the senior cabinet minister, can be made the acting president.
All right.
So it's a flat thing. It's not if and if not.
Okay. All right.
So sorry to just...
Ramsey.
Okay, so that is what I believe. They talked about capping of ministers, and even you see the aspect of the one I was talking about the strict separation of powers. We are talking about financial management in Ghana every day. That is why President decided that he's going to make sure that the appointment will stay or will not go beyond 60. And you see, when you are an MP, if majority of our ministers are coming from Parliament, and most of them, those who become MPs, those who become ministers, don't take double salary. Are you getting me? But now, if we are going to say we are practicing separation of powers, and strictly MPs will be MPs, and we'll have ministers, then that means the 57 that they are even proposing of, that means we have to get other 67 personnel or persons that will be ministers, and they will all be withdrawing salary and all the benefits that comes with the ministerial position. That is going to be a cost to us as a country.
But maybe the efficiency in the system, they see it as to superimpose or supersede the financial obligations.
Yes, but currently we've been practicing this for God knows how long. Most of our MPs or MPs that are ministers, are you telling me they are not efficient? They are very, very well. They are. And you see, there's one that they were talking about capping of...
the ministers?
The ministers, me, I'm okay.
Or constituencies?
Constituencies.
Yes.
You see?
Why you need more constituencies to be created?
Let me tell you something. For instance, China Paga constituency. If you know China Paga constituency very well, I'm running about three constituencies combined. As I said,
you're running 3 municipalities or 3 constituencies?
3 constituencies. To me,
you're looking at the numbers.
The numbers and the land size. For instance, I share border with Sisala, that is Upper West. I share border with Sisala East. I share border with Bulsa South. I share border with Bulsa North. I share border with Navrongo. I share border with Adongo, Bolga Central.
Okay, yes.
And I share border with Bongo. All these constituencies, I share borders with them. But that is one constituency. And if I'm going to, for instance, if I'm going to Kayoro, I have to go through 3 or 2 constituencies before I get there.
Okay.
So I was thinking that they would have given us the chance to look at complex constituencies of that nature and create some constituencies before capping it. Or they should have kept a clause there that we will redemarcate. I saw that they talked about the demarcation there. But we will, because there are some constituencies, even if you are going to redemarcate, it is going to be very difficult.
But can we keep creating?
No, that is why we needed to consult, sit down, look at it, and recreate for the last time and cap it. Because now it is going to be very difficult. It is going to be very difficult.
But you need this right to represent the people.
No, I'm not talking about me. I'm giving my best. I'm there to represent my people. I'm the chief servant of China Paga constituency. Yes. I don't have any other option. But we needed to create some constituencies. For instance, even if at least they give China Paga one constituency in addition, it will help the people more. Yes, my suffering, nobody sent me there. But for the good people of China Paga constituency, they deserve better. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So that is the problem that I have with some of
the recommendations.
The recommendations.
All right, grateful. Let me bring in Alfred Thompson. Alfred, so let's stay with these two. Let's analyze these two, and then we can move on to the other ones. With regards to the strict separation, do you also think like him that no, one is going to bring about financial burden? Two, it will take away institutional memory, which is critical to the operation of Parliament.
All right, good morning to you. Good morning to my brother, to our fellow panelists who are not here, and to the general public. I say Merry Christmas to them, and I wish them all the best from tonight or tomorrow going. I actually, before I delve into these two that you're talking about, I have about 26.
26?
Yeah, that's, it's going to affect changes in 26 different aspects.
Okay.
And it tells you what has gone on.
I'll let you delve there, but if you can touch on these two.
I'll touch on
So
this.
I bring Dr. Asante and Dr. Saikwa into it.
I have a little issue with where he wants the separation of powers, but he wants to also keep certain things to himself or to their system, the system that is running now. I would have said, first and foremost, we should have reduced the number of MPs over there. Because I think if you are going to do separation of powers and MPs are going to focus, then they are going to have the time and the destiny to go more into their constituencies, to tell them of what they want to turn into laws, to focus on the work they are doing and deal with their constituents individually. A place like Cape Coast, which was divided into two, I don't think is necessary.
Oh, really?
No. When you look at Dome Kwabenya and you compare it to Cape Coast, land size and the number over there, you didn't need to divide Cape Coast. But because of parochial interest, so people had to do that. They had to push for that to be done. And it's not helping us. If you reduce the MPs to about 200, and then the 76 that is on, that is what you spread over the ministerial positions. Like he's saying,
so we should rather reduce the constituencies.
Oh yes.
Hey, but he's giving you an example that this place is too big.
Yes, because now he has to do a double work or double job. If he's given a ministerial or a deputy ministerial appointment, he has to serve as an MP. He has to be going to his constituencies to tell them that, listen, these are some of the laws we want to pass. These are some of the things we are putting on board. How do you help us? How do you delve into it so that I can also support what you are saying and send it to Parliament? Before you come and do his either deputy ministerial job or ministerial job. So if you are separating that from the MP's job, MPs will focus on putting in the laws. And those who have to work on the laws will have to also focus on working on the laws. They don't act as MPs. So you separate those two. And also you have some control over the executive. Because if the executive is going to select you to become an MP, can you imagine if, to become a minister, can you imagine if he's going to, as a minister, and he's doing something that is not good? And at the moment, because they have the majority there, and he has his colleagues in Parliament, his colleagues will reprimand him like he should do. But if you are not an MP, you are a full minister and you are not an MP, you won't get them saying that, oh, because he's part of us, let us, shelve it or let us manage it in such a way that we don't throw our colleagues or our colleague into the gutters. And also, it gives us the chance to make sure that when you are going for the vetting, they do it and do it well. You tell us that, listen, you separate, because when you're an MP and you're going for vetting, they treat you differently from when you are not an MP and you're going for vetting. Okay. They treat you differently.
Are you sure that is
I'm telling you, you know.
Can you take Sam George shown into consideration and Ablakwa?
Sam George and Ablakwa, under normal circumstances, they shouldn't have even been approved. If you are going that way, they shouldn't have been approved. But
that is
based on
that is why you believe. So
based on the fact that one, they have the numbers, two, their MPs, their colleagues will say, listen, let it go. Let us slide it. Because if you remember very well, when there wasn't that serious majority and things, when you had a situation where an MP needed to apologize, you realize that immediately the MP will apologize. But in this situation, he felt that, listen, I don't need to apologize to anybody because after all, whatever you do, I have the numbers and my people will support me and vote for me, and that is what happened. So let's look at it in a holistic way and see whether it's good or bad. Whatever you do, whatever the situation, definitely some people would love it, some people would not love it. Some people will see that it's good for them, some people will say that no, like he's saying, I mean, definitely, a certain MP would want to be a minister, a deputy minister. It has added advantage that other colleagues are not getting. So if everybody is not getting that added advantage, then let's sit down and focus on our work and do our work and let those who want to be ministers be ministers. And it will even shock you that it will get to a time that they'll say that, okay, instead of taking ministers and deputy ministers, there are some places who won't even take deputy ministers because we don't need it. The administrators there who we can work with the administrators.
I mean, the committee recommends that no appointment of deputies. I'm going to get
so you see, so cap of ministers and deputy ministers is up to about 50-something. You see, it tells you that we can do it. Let's separate it, let's reduce it, and let us get this going. This is how we can only develop the nation. This is how we can do things in the right manner. This is how the executive can check the legislature, and the legislature can check the executive to make sure that things are going as they should go. So it doesn't become just a party issue, it becomes the national issue. Then when we have discussions, we'll have people discussing national issues on TV. When we come and sit here, we take what is happening in Parliament, we see whether it's good or bad, we discuss it, we ask questions, whether I can even query my brother that, have you been to your constituency? Have you made sure that you discussed this with your constituency before you came to Parliament to put it, table it and approve it? These are things that they should be doing. And you can't, share that, that portfolio by going to your constituency every day. And that is why a lot of the MPs lose their seats. Because if you are serving as a minister, it's very difficult to serve as a minister, be traveling around and making sure that your constituencies are up to date with what is going on. So I believe that, yes, I mean, we should it's a good recommendation, but our party has set up a committee, as you know. They are going to look into it to see whether some of these recommendations need some tweaking and everything. So they will come out and then we'll have a full take on it. But selection of MMDCs as it came in is a good idea because now that there's a separation of MP and the MMDCs, you get the situation where people will focus on their jobs. People will be voted for to come and account to the people. And one thing that I like about it is that when you step down as an MP, within that term, you cannot be appointed as a minister. So people should not think that, oh, I'm going to become MP and then I'll step down and immediately they can make me as a minister and then there will be a series of by-elections. And I wish they could have brought this by-election issue that if, like the presidency, I mean, if after 2 years you are the president and maybe you die or something, you finish your term. So if as an MP, there's a death or something after a year, I think the party who has that seat
can appoint
someone to continue that term. It cuts down on some of these by-elections and the costs involved.
Let me bring in Dr. John Osaikopon here. But before, the recommendation was that this means the total number of ministers of state, including deputy ministers, and regional ministers shall not exceed 57. Additionally, the committee recommends that the president shall not, and that becomes a command there, shall not appoint deputy regional ministers. So he can
recommend that they shall not
appoint deputy regional ministers. So there won't be deputy regional ministers. I think
deputy regional ministers, you've already said that it wasn't really.
Even this president hasn't done it. So that is
they've done it in a nice way. And, they've done it in a nice way.
I was thinking there should have been a clause in terms of vetting of ministers. Because if I become a Greek minister today, tomorrow maybe there's reshuffling, then I'm going to be the sports minister. Then still I have to go through, or maybe when they are...
Now, when you're a full minister and they are reshuffling, you don't go to...
I'm talking of, let's assume I was once a minister or a deputy minister, then I'm becoming a minister. Or maybe I was a minister before, but due to one or two reasons, I went off and I'm coming back again. The vetting is, to me, it is waste of time, waste of resources, because somebody...
That's another area you want us to take us to.
So I was thinking it should have been a clause.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. John Osei-Akopo. Doc, so you've had the MP and Alfred Thompson. I mean, where do you stand on the part of strict separation of powers between the legislature and the executive?
Your viewers and the co-panelists, I have always supported that idea of that strict separation and ensuring that if you're a legislator, you remain a legislator, hold your legislative powers, and do your work within that institution. If you're an executive, be part of the executive and do your work within that institution. Sometimes some of the challenges or some of the issues that have come up about Parliament, issues around absenteeism and all of those things, I feel is that trying to juggle, your executive work with your parliamentary work. My other reason for liking this separation is that, especially for, and in my opinion, especially for parliamentarians on the majority side, I feel that without this separation, they become more vulnerable to political control by the executive as embodied in the president. And then sometimes that independence is not fully there, is the way I read this current configuration that we have. So I do like the idea of just keeping it separate and let the lines of demarcation be very clear between the executive and the legislature. And hopefully you can get more oversight and more independence on the side of Parliament, is my reading of it.
But what do you make of the suggestion that this could lead to loss of institutional memory, as most of the senior people who probably are aiming to be ministers will no longer have the love to vie or to run for Parliament?
I'm not sure I fully embrace that argument. I mean, if you really want to be a parliamentarian, then you focus on, staying on that path and being a parliamentarian and securing that institutional memory for that particular institution. I just feel that sometimes, because there's this current configuration, that there are some who the path to Parliament is sort of the initial path to being part of the executive, either as a deputy minister or as a minister. But I would rather you focus on one of them, and not that those who have these two powers have become tyrants. But one of the great political philosophers will say that the moment you start combining different powers within a government configuration, the executive, parliamentary, and that becomes the beginning of tyranny. And it's not that people will become tyrants. It's just this idea that you do not want different kinds of powers within a government architecture concentrated in the hands of a same individual. And so that's why, for me, again, I would want that separation. And I think it even inures to the benefit of the parliamentarian, although those who have experienced the current configuration may disagree.
But with Parliament, and you made a point about the fact that the current system makes majority MPs quite vulnerable to the system. If we separate the two, and the government feels that an MP is not, towing my line, can they still use the political architecture to get him out of Parliament? From the way we know our politics in this country.
That's That's a good point. I mean, they can find a candidate in a party primary, run that candidate against you, make you even more vulnerable. But that you let the party politics resolve that or deal with that. For me, my primary interest is the institutional configuration and that independence that can come, potentially with such an arrangement.
Okay. What is your own reading of the capping of constituencies? Now, we cannot create more, we cannot reduce. Is it the best?
I support that with one caveat. If you're going to cap the number of seats in parliament, then one of my suggestions is that on a regular basis, and I think the Honorable mentioned that the idea of demarcation, but I think if you are going to cap it, given that demographics do change, population does change, shift, and all of that, then periodically you want to redemarcate these constituencies to make sure that the appropriate number of citizens are represented by a given parliamentarian. So one of the ways I've been thinking about it is perhaps after every census, right? You want to go back and say, have certain constituencies become too big, too small? What are the shapes looking like? And do you want to redemarcate them to make sure that if we are still capping it at the 276, right, that you are not overly burdening a particular MP and, making sure that there's adequate representation, across it. Otherwise, we would keep, adding and adding and adding, and I don't know what becomes when we stop the adding. I mean, yes, 10 here, 1 here, 2 here, but redemarcation for me would be the way to deal with capping the size of parliament.
All right, Doctor. I'm grateful. Let me bring in Dr. Kwame Asante now. Doc, I mean, if you look at one of the recommendations, also has to do with the capping of ministers that we've already spoken about. But what's your own reading of this capping of ministers, and that ministers should not exceed 57?
Yeah. Before I come to that, let me start with the separation of powers.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a different view.
Okay.
Yes. Now people are talking more about efficiency of ministers. That if there is a marriage between the legislature and the executive that we have today, it affects the quality of delivery and all that. I follow. But we have examples in the world. Look at the Britain. Ministers ought to come from parliament. What is the situation there? We see performance. They are doing their work and doing them effectively. All right. Yes, we have not, it is not the case that we have not tried this system of government before. What we are proposing now, virtually we are in the realm of presidential system.
Okay.
And that ministers should come outside of parliament. 1979, we had a presidential system. Did it work for us or not? All right. Remember 1969, we have the Westminster system that also look at ministers coming from parliament and the rest of them. So for me, it's not the issue about the separation of powers, but the human beings who drive the system. All right. If you have people who can take their government on, despite the fact that they belong to that party, then you are a home and dry. All right. You can have people, they are talking about what? The oversight responsibility. Let's take, for the purposes of this conversation, that today you have a system where ministers do not come from parliament, but you have an NDC majority, almost 2/3 or 2/3 majority in parliament, and they have their ministers outside parliament. Do you think that if we have this case, NDC will be able, members of parliament will be able to what? Exercise that oversight responsibility over the executive so effectively? Looking at a strict party discipline that we have in there, that if you don't play ball with government of the day, the executive, they have a way of what? Edging you out or taking you out. So for me, the issue about the strict separation, you can have all the best systems, but if people don't change the attitude, if people don't stand for the state, if people are not honest and want to do their work as effective as possible without reference to the party, you can change all the system, I'm afraid we'll come back to square one. So for me, that is my position. That yes, you can change, let ministers come out of parliament, but would they be able to hold government answerable if they have that large majority? You remember PC appeal for it,
yes.
when he decided to take his own party on.
Yeah.
He was virtually ostracized and all that. Can MPs master that courage to take the executive on as part of their oversight responsibility? For me, it doesn't really matter. It's the human being who drives this. It's, for me, that's the focus, all right? If people also want to go to parliament with a view that, yes, we want to grow to become what? Ministers and all that, and today you don't have them, it's going to be disincentive for people who go to parliament, then I'm afraid we have lost it, because it's service. Wherever you find yourself, deliver. And you grow within that space to become the best of yourself and for your society. We've seen in the United States where people have been in parliament for years. They build that institutional memory. They support the cause of work and all that. And then they take their government on. Once they get to parliament, they are not members of parliament and they don't represent their party again. They represent their constituency, their interests and all that. But for me, it doesn't matter, the system that you have in place. But the people, if we don't change our attitude, we are not focused, and that we don't stand for the truth, and we are not prepared to deliver, I'm afraid you can change all the systems. Ghana has changed from what? Parliamentary to presidential to hybrid. Today, we want to go to presidential. We can change so many. But remember, it's the same people who are driving this. That's it. Now, I move on to, ministers.
I'll let you get there, but on the same strict separation of powers between the legislature and the executive, the honorable member of China Paga is saying that once you do that, then let us parliament rather elect one of us, a sitting MP, to be speaker, not the president nominating someone for us to vote on. What do you make of that proposal too?
If you look at the review, as was done by Kwesi Prempeh and his team, my understanding is that they have done so well to take a lot of powers from the president, right? If you look at it carefully.
Yeah.
And then they want to bring democracy to the doorstep of the ordinary man.
Yeah.
And that the benefit of democracy, they want people to feel it, not to hear about it. So when you do this, they have been able to balance it in a certain manner that where they feel so strongly that government powers have to be taken over by a certain independent body, they do that. One surest way by which you can reduce the powers of the president is when you also say that, yeah, the president cannot nominate somebody to become a speaker. But they have weighed it and they said that let that one stay so that the president will have, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But I don't have a problem. You see,
okay.
If we're talking about the legislature, somebody can be just, a member of parliament, but his delivery, his work will stand the test of time. So for me, that's my position.
Okay.
Now I come back to look at, you were asking something?
No, that's what I wanted to pick your thought on.
I come back to look at a number of ministers. I am happy that at least we are all singing from the same notebook that we believe that the numbers should reduce. And we've seen example from this current government working with 60. But I believe that the committee, even though they've talked about the 57, they are saying that it is it shouldn't go more than 3 times of cabinet. A cabinet about 19. So if you take another 19, another 16 for 16 regions as regional ministers, that brings you to 35. Then you'll be left with 22. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Right. That 22, my understanding is that you are going to give at least 19 ministries with 19 deputy ministers. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. Then you have 16 regional ministers, no deputies. It translates to 35. Then 22, you are saying that you are adding for each ministry 1 deputy. Then you'll be left with 3. And the 3, my understanding is that you give it to the biggest ministries, that is education, finance, and then I think trade and industry.
Yeah, fine. Or even energy.
Yeah, if you look at this, it gives you an idea that they want to limit ministerial appointment to 19 and 19 ministers plus what? 19 deputy ministers. Are you with me?
Yeah.
But the bigger ones will have additional 111, making them 2 for that ministry. And then it's fine. I agree with that. But I also believe that they could have made it all 19. Just 19 ministers. Because the cabinet is made up of 19 ministers. So for each region, somebody will double us as a minister and as a regional minister. It takes us to 16. Then the 3, you give it to what? Bigger institutions, bigger ministries. Then they could have put us at 19. But they have weighed it 57. I think we can, it can pass for that. But I would have wished we had 19 representing regional ministers, ministers of state, and no deputies. And I would not go for any deputy. I want to see what, chief directors supporting the ministers to deliver so that we engage a large section of the experienced, bureaucrats who will support the ministers to deliver so that those appointments and all that. But one thing that I saw was missing in this thing was that no mention of anything like what special assistants. We don't need them. So I thought that they should have made emphatic in there that don't create any special assistant. Because yes, you can say there are no deputy. The time you realize they brought in all special assistant, here you are. You didn't say anything about it. And then special aid, special assistant. We want that one to be inserted in the constitution. Don't bring any or any of such qualities the ministry have. That we don't need any person of that. And then yes. Then there is another one about additional. They said if you want to take additional, they need to write. It must be approved by Parliament and all that. Then it undermines the whole work that the committee has done. We don't need any additional. No, the 57 is even too much. We don't need any additional because there will be every good reason to have an additional MPs. But if you have majority in Parliament supporting a certain party, you know the direction it will go. We don't need additional. That aspect must be obliterated. We need to take it away. Otherwise, it undermines the beautiful work that they have done. But I don't want to even see additional or there's a special assistant. The special assistant thing, I'm so careful because you remember Kufuor's time, there were a lot of special assistants. But
these special assistants later grew up to be ministers, not so. So quite I think I remember Samuel Boateng.
Yes.
Yeah, and co. They became ministers of state. So a training ground also.
No, the training ground, you parties, that is why political party, one of their function is that they also look for people, they train them to become the best for society. So that is not a place that you are going to be trained and all that. Yes, it is true that we can also leverage on the fact that we are in that office, we can take advantage and then build capacity. But if we open that for us, I'm afraid people will have justification as to why we should add, why we should have a special assistant. We don't need special assistant. We don't need any of such people. There are more issues that I have in mind.
Okay,
and,
all right.
We can discuss. I look forward to listening to you. Yes.
Just because of where we are, maybe Alfred, I'll come to you, and then I'll bring in.
Let me touch on something before we move on. Another thing, they also talk about the fact that we haven't come to that, but the issue of election period is very, very important. It's very, very important. I support that election period idea that a time must be designated for elections. And people think that it's not the best. It's workable. It exists in Philippines. It exists in other jurisdiction and all that. The good thing, somebody will ask that, what about, opposition party?
Exactly.
What would they do? Mm-hmm. The opposition party, that is a time for them to engage in recruitment drive, settle all the differences, and build the political parties, all right, to take advantage. Remember, they are proposing for proportional representation.
Yeah.
That is a time to be able to work on these things and see the groups that are going to emerge in Parliament and all that. So that fix all the problems and then elect all your leaders within a certain space of time. And then within a short time, we deal with election. So it doesn't go against anyone, because the only problem they can anticipate, which I agree with them, is the issue of what? Abuse of incumbency. It said punish abuse of incumbency. There is also a remedy for that. So I believe that otherwise people come to power, and every day, as soon as they win power, instead of concentrating on governance, they start with what? Election. Did we vote them into office to go and then engage in election throughout? Or at a point in time, we need a governance to improve our lives. Okay. So I believe that aspect is very, very important.
Okay.
And it will bring sanity, and we'll be able to track the political space and shepherd it properly, so that within that space, people will deliver what is expected of them.
Okay. Election period. That's interesting. Maybe I'll go around and take a minute each of your view on that. Dr. Saikopong, I don't know, what's your own view as well on the election campaign period? Just a minute for me.
It's not a bad idea. You don't want to be in perpetual campaign mode. In the US, there is always the joke that the next election starts when a president has been elected. That's when that, but you don't want to be in a perpetual campaign mode. And I think that's what the committee is trying to do, which is, can we at some point shift from, electioneering and focus on governing? But as has been also raised, what then happens to the opposition party that they are not in, quote unquote, governing on a daily basis? Can that party keep campaigning for however long? But I think that's one of the concerns that they are trying to address, that we are not perpetually campaigning.
All right, Honorable Thompson, a minute on this.
On the
campaign
period, I'd always ask the question. I mean, once we come and sit here from different parties, we are doing campaigning. Once he's coming from NDC, I'm coming from MPP, I'll speak the mind of the MPP party. So whether you close or open it, I mean, at the end of the day, during the 4-year period, there will always be discussion on political lines. So it will be a very difficult, quote and unquote, way of putting it that there should be a close on campaign this time, because whatever governance topic is on, you want to have the mind of the opposition party. And once you sit on set and talk about that, not as a technocrat, but as a politician, definitely you would state your mind, but there will be a political drive into it.
Isn't the committee looking at what point in time within the last year, let's say the election year, do political parties start campaigning? Because if you leave it, as we know, some parties can start campaigning as early as, say, May, June, July. Now, this committee says that let's limit it to a period. So it means that in an election period, they state, for example, 120 days. 120 days is what? 3 months? 4 months. Which means that you start around, say, August, thereabout. That at least there is a period for, it means that we're all confined to a period and not just leave it bare for anybody to do whatever.
And that's what I'm saying, that it will be tough, because sometimes you want to hear from the leadership of opposition.
As for your discussion, you have them.
No, apart from
but mounting campaign platforms, rallies.
Campaign platforms, if you check very well, usually it starts in the year of election.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, it doesn't start now. It's very expensive to mount a campaign platform. It's very expensive to bring people together to talk to them at a rally or something.
I say, in the mind of the committee, what they are looking for is that in the year of election, we won't start mounting platforms. You start mounting platforms from August onwards.
And that is,
we're all confined to that space.
That is what is done most of the time. Go and check and see. Because when you look at the system, the candidate travels around the country, around the constituencies, and that's, stops or whistle stops to make sure they are talking to the people, convincing them, even though you have your party machinery on ground working.
Yeah.
Mounting a platform.
It is also because of that they want to change it. So that the vice president or the president who is running again will concentrate on governance, not to go and meet political people because you are campaigning.
When you go and cut a sword that you are going to start something, it's a form of campaigning.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's very difficult. Especially for a certain president to distinguish between campaigning and not campaigning, because anything you are doing is about looking to make sure that your next election you are held in office. So all these things count, but the topmost of it is that for the year of election, Usually, you see the regional campaigning and the national campaigning getting to the last 3 months of the election because it's very expensive to hold. He will tell you, I mean, if you are going for an election, the amount of money you spoil, you can't be going starting from January to December. That almost every week you are going to mount a rally somewhere or something. It's not possible.
Okay, all right. Honorable Ramsey.
Thank you very much. I think that particular clause should be abandoned.
It should be abandoned, huh?
Yes, because even the 120 days that they are given is even more than
the example they cited.
Yes, the example that they've given. We start mounting platforms 90, 80 days. Not up to, you cannot do it.
They didn't state platforms. I only brought it.
Yes, but that is it, impliedly. Like, they are not saying it expressly. But that is what it means. And you see, let's be realistic. We want to develop our country. We need to be real with each other. You see, campaigning and mounting platforms are not even effective compared to the funerals that we go to. The social investments that we do. There's wedding, you have to go there. There's funeral, you have to go there. There are other programs that you have to attend to like this. This is campaigning. We are campaigning.
Really?
Yes, we are campaigning. Let's be real.
You are contributing to the national discourse.
But that is it. The national discourse is all about campaigning. If you are not there, can you handle the country? No. You see, mostly governments, for instance, I would not wish to start campaigning now. Are you getting me? But I will be forced to do so because an MPP candidate probably is in my constituency, attending all funerals to be visible so that he can unseat me. Internally, whether we like it or not, internal politics, we have it. Somebody is sitting somewhere by now, planning on how to attend funerals, talk to people, invest socially so that he can take Alamzi out one day. Are you getting me? So if we are going to say that there will not be campaigning, then we have to stop a lot of things. And you can't enforce a law that I shouldn't go to my constituency and greet funerals. No, you cannot do that. So let with me, they should abandon it because the days they are even giving. We campaign on platforms, national ones. Some even come 60 days. The president, you realize that when he starts the presidential candidates, before they will say, oh, we want to go around, it's always less than 60 days. You cannot even use 120 because it is very expensive.
Very, very.
Very, very expensive. What I like about it is that they've proposed 1 year in addition. That one can cater for this.
Oh, so you like the 5 years?
I like the 5 years.
Okay. For
That one
president and parliamentarians.
Parliamentarians, because I don't know if we would discuss it. If we will not discuss it, then
no. You can. Yeah.
You see, the fact is that before the 4 years, when you come, like we came into power, 27th January 2025, up to now, President has not been able to appoint even some of our board, some of our institutions. They don't have boards to function effectively as of today. And the 2028, the very year that we'll be voting, we will start campaigning somehow. And it will take, that is where it will take another time from the president and the MP. Are you getting me? So if we get additional 1 year, definitely it will cater for this. It will cater for this. So let with me, this particular clause, we can abandon it.
There should not be any campaign period.
No.
Whatever. Okay. But just on that too, just before I bring you to, we need to look at the party financing, which is also another issue we've discussed in this country for a long time. But the election of MPs and president will still happen on the same day.
Yeah.
Could we have probably tweaked it to say MPs will happen 2 years into a president's term? What about that? Could we have looked at, even though the committee didn't recommend it?
Yes.
But could it have been an option to really bring our accountability?
When you look at your MMDCs and the people who work under that's assembly members. The assembly members are the people who control the local government purse.
Yeah.
And they happen, I think, every 2 years after the presidential election. So it's like 2 years, 2 years. It's a better option because when you are running an election, even within the party across the nation, it's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. When you are putting all resources together, like security, even party, internal party machinery and everything, you realize that it's expensive.
So should we separate the two?
For a national election, to separate the two, I don't think it's right. Okay. I think it's been done before. You remember the first election in the Fourth Republic was a separation, but they realized that one, it created problems, and two, it became expensive. They realized that it was expensive. The problems it created was that at that time they said Rawlings had become president, and so voting for MPs, you would say that once the presidential candidate or the president is there, then it's more like towing line.
Just like the by-elections.
Yeah, just like the by-elections. Okay. You get more seats towards your other thing. Okay. And then they look at the expense aspect of it.
The by-elections is because we are performing well.
It's not about performance. You know that. I mean, when you go into the by-election within the Fourth Republic, it's not about... Yes, I would say this first year, you are still riding on a good well. Let's give it another 2 years and see. And try and get someone out and see whether your by-election you'll be able to win.
You see, it will be a bad decision if we say
we should do
it that way. Separately. Because as my brother said, one, it is going to cost this country. Okay. Because it is going to be very expensive because the resources that you use for presidential is the same amount you are coming to use because the president or the government or the party will not sit down and allow the MPs to go alone. Definitely they will come in. And if we joke, there will be the likelihood of us getting abnormal majority in parliament.
All the time.
All the time, because once the president is there, then definitely the constituency would like to vote for the president so that they can benefit. Because in Ghana, we believe that when your president is there and you have MP, you benefit more than if your MP is in opposition. Okay. So it won't be a good idea for us.
I should have started this from you, but let me start from Dr. John Osai-Korpon. Doc, about the point on political party control and selection of caucus leadership in Parliament, you spoke about the Speaker of Parliament, but the committee is recommending an amendment by inclusion of a new provision to the effect that members of Parliament shall constitute themselves into majority and minority caucuses on the basis of the numerical strength of their respective political parties' representation in Parliament. And the members of each caucus shall elect from among their number by secret vote persons who shall constitute the leadership of their respective caucuses and hold the positions of majority or minority leader, deputy majority or deputy minority leader, chief whip and deputy chief whip, as the case may be. A leader, deputy leader or chief whip or deputy chief whip of a party caucus may be removed or replaced by the vote of an absolute majority of the members of the caucus in a special election called for that purpose at the request of at least 1/4 of the members of the caucus. This replaces the current system where the political party will decide who becomes the majority leader. Will this be an effective way to run it?
When you read some of the recommendations, it appears that the committee is trying to respond to, I believe, some of the public criticism that you hear about Parliament as an institution, right? It being weak vis-a-vis the executive, it not being able to exert its powers the way. So some of these changes that are being recommended, I suspect it's being done to sort of strengthen Parliament as an institution as well as Parliament's practices. So it's not a bad idea to have the parliamentarians themselves, once they constitute themselves into a majority or a minority caucus, then elect from within. It still doesn't mean that the political party or even the executive cannot signal who they would like to see in a certain role. I mean, here in the U.S., even when the caucus is electing let's say the speaker, there's always a signal from the White House, if it's the same party in the White House, signaling that, well, we would back candidate A versus. So in an indirect way, that influence is still there. But, it's a good idea just to, let it emerge from Parliament, even if behind the scenes there are some signals from the presidency that, hey, this is the person we would prefer for, let's say, a majority leader.
Okay. Honorable Lamzi, what do you make of this proposal, this recommendation?
We have a recommendation that is advising us to stick to strict separation of powers.
Yeah.
So if we all agree, or if we are going to accept it, that is, if only we are going to accept it, then there is no need for the executive to interfere. Then that would downplay the idea of a strict separation of powers. If only we don't have a hand in the executive, then we will plead that the executive should also remove their hands from our side so that we can come together and elect our leaders. It is only fair. So my argument will be that once we are sticking to strict separation of powers, then it is only fair that if it comes, if we all agree that that is what we are going to do, then it is only fair for... That is why I'm even proposing that even not the leadership, not the caucus leadership, even the speakership
should be from Parliament.
Should be from Parliament, and they shouldn't have a say in it.
Okay, all right. Alfred, let me come to you. You had some issues you wanted to bring forward before I stopped you there. Bring them up. Then I'll take you to the political party financing and the qualification of a member of Parliament, because now we are told that if you hold, they are recommending that if you hold the dual citizenship and you qualify to be a member of Parliament, you should still go ahead without. Let's hear you.
The first one was on, I think
the leadership.
The leadership, which I've been spoken on. I think with leadership there should be some form of party contribution towards it. It shouldn't just be people within the Parliament, because as he knows, when you go there and you stay there for long, they have those who they call them their old, what do you call it?
Okay.
And then you have the new
Mugabes.
entrants. When the new entrants come, if you are not careful, the Mugabes, when the new entrants come, if you are not careful, they might not even give you the chance to shine, because the Mugabes will feel that they have been there for long. Let's let them go through the system. So I feel that at least they should have not the executive. It's not about executive, because even with the opposition, they also have their leadership that they use. So they would get some collaboration between the party and the parliamentarians to come to a compromise.
So the party should have a say.
Yes, they nominate who would come in. Coming to some of the things that I was looking at, some of them, and I was looking at, we've talked about the retaining of the 2-term limit of the president, the lower limit presidential age from 40 to 30 years, then subject the president to taxation, including indirect taxes like all citizens. We have a replacement of Article 71 arrangement with the Independent Public Emolument Commission to determine salaries and benefits. Limit post-presidential immunity, allowing civil action anytime and criminal action within 4 years after leaving office. I don't know why they were looking at 4 years after leaving office. There could be no criminal action, because criminal action is criminal action. And if it's detected 10 years later, even if you are dead and it's detected, I think it should be brought up, and then some checks are put in place to make sure that these things are corrected, because it helps. We've talked about the decoupling of ministers, the 57 ministers. We've talked about deepening the fiscal decentralization, including MMDC's censure. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up was the dual citizen, which to me, I really, really we should look at it again. Because even now, America is trying to withdraw dual citizenship. But
the people, they also say that we contribute to the running of the economy with the monies we send home. If they are part, why should they?
No, don't we contribute to the running of American economies by sending monies there to purchase items? Do we say that?
Or you're going to purchase this one? They bring money for their families to spend here,
but it's
and they are Ghanaians.
They bring money for their families to purchase.
Yes, but they are Ghanaians.
Yes, because
first of all, you are not an American, but they are Ghanaians.
Who told you we don't have people who are Americans? We have relatives who are Americans that we send money to them.
They are Americans.
Yes,
and so they can run for office there.
They want it. So there are people who they are sending here to run for office here. The people they are sending money to should run for the office. Not those who are sitting there.
So you're saying that you are saying that if me,
life,
Kojo Brace, I'm Ghanaian by birth. I'm an hunter. I've gone to live in, say, Canada, and I've gained Canadian citizenship.
You haven't just gained. You went to take the Canadian citizenship. I've stayed in UK.
Okay.
I stayed in UK for 8
fine.
years.
Okay, fine.
I didn't
I went to take it.
Yes.
You're saying just by virtue of me taking it, I cannot use the experience I have, both from Ghana and Canada, to come and be a member of parliament in helping my nation.
You can use your experience to become a consultant. Why do you have to be a member of parliament?
So you're saying the government should reject this?
You know how it would disenfranchise a lot of our people? If you bring $100 and he hasn't got $100 and he's going for election with you, who do you think they will elect first?
It is because you've made the whole politics you monetize it.
That is what we have to.
But if it's not money,
we have to start. That is what you have to look at before. You see, when your financial fundamentals are right, that is when you can bring certain things on board. Because everything in Ghana is about money. Even sitting in front pews in churches, it's about money and your contribution, your tithes. When you pay big tithes, you get big seats. Okay, that is how the system is.
So we know David. Is it David Ajayi? Is that his name? The architect.
Yeah, David Ajayi.
The guy is a renowned architect.
Yeah.
Tomorrow he says, "I want to run for parliament." You're saying because he probably holds a British citizenship. With all this knowledge and experience, we should say no to him because he holds a British citizenship.
David is a good architect in UK.
Yes.
You are a very good architect in Ghana.
I'm not an architect. Okay.
I'm using you as an example.
Yes.
You are a very good architect in Ghana. But because you don't have the pounds that you can melt to turn into a lot of cities, to be able to move the system. Because, you see, we said it earlier on, campaigning is no small joke. Campaigning, it's no small joke. The amount of money involved, if you don't have it, you will not win.
But I thought the reason why
we said alone, you do.
I get it.
The amount of money.
But I thought the explanation for not allowing dual citizenship not to become MPs was for national security. It wasn't about.
It's not only national security. It's about challenges your local people face. National security is one because they want you to hold allegiance to the country in which you belong. Can you imagine someone who is a dual citizen and can be sending our information out? Parliamentary information, serious things that have been discussed in Parliament. And maybe he's on the National Security Committee and he's an American, both an American and a Ghanaian. That is part of it. But apart from that, if he goes there anytime to work and gets funds and comes to China Paga and says that I want to become MP there, and he has the funds to build cheap compounds, do this, do that, do you know the experience he's got and everything? You'll be let out of the STEM bag that, as that go, we can't finance you. These are things we should be looking at. So it's not just a one-sided thing that, because, yes, you have children who are in this thing, UK and US now, you want to do it in such a way that anytime they can come. I think this is a debate we should look at very well. Because I also have a strong point on how people get finances, and people should be checked for the finances they bring into the political scene.
Okay.
Someone bringing, let's say, galamsey money, someone bringing cocaine money, someone bringing monies that are untoward. And when they use it for elections, you don't ask any questions.
How would you know if this is cocaine money?
But when we start checking some of these things, you won't get people who just get up and come in and run elections. Otherwise, we'll get drug lords controlling our systems.
Really? Okay, all right. You see, I'll bring in Dr. John Osakopon because he lives in the US as well. He could better help us situate this discussion. And then Dr. Asasante as well. Yes.
This is another this thing that I wish that the committee will abandon it.
Hey, okay.
Yes, because,
He's an MP, he knows.
because the fact is that, one, national security, we should be so concerned. Somebody that is a citizen somewhere or becomes a citizen again in Ghana, or probably you are holding dual citizenship and you want to contest a position in Ghana, there is a fair deal for you. There is a timeline that you can denounce your citizenship over there and come. We are not saying you cannot come and lead in Ghana. You can come. But you must be loyal to this country. You must have it at the back of your head that this is my only country and this is what I have. Even with the mindset that we have, and now you have to only be a Ghanaian to hold a political position. Look at our behavior politically now. And if we decide to bring people who are citizens of other country again, they don't care. They come and amass our limited wealth. Anytime there's trouble, they walk away and
But
leave us.
they're Ghanaians too.
No, yes.
They hold allegiance to two countries, not one.
You see, when you are a citizen to Ghana in a different country, that means you are loyal to two countries. Are you getting me? If one is burning, you can ignore,
easily walk away
and go to the other country. You see, there will be serious conflict of interest. For instance, let's relate it to policies. Probably there's a problem between your original country, Ghana, and the other country that you belong to. Where will you stand? As the political head, let's assume you are now you become MP or minister. Where will you stand? And the fact is that there will not be accountability. Absconding. There will not be accountability at all, because some people will feel that, okay, when I lead in Ghana and I can decide to behave the way I want, I can decide to lead anyhow. If there's a problem in Ghana, if I'm finding it difficult to stay in Ghana, I easily walk away
and leave the room.
But
there will not, I'm coming, let me finish. There will not even be that political public trust. Are you getting me? Public trust and perception. For instance, we are all politicians in Ghana. There are some that are they are only Ghanaians. They maybe they've stayed out for long. They come home because of the donation. Me like this, I've had candidates in other constituencies. They go and the donation is quite not rough like mine. Then the others will say, "Oh, this one there, he's not with us. He's slanging or something of that nature." They don't have that trust. They feel he's not one of them. So for me, even if not for all the points that I've mentioned, for national security's sake, we need to maintain it the way it is, because there's a caveat. There's a room for anyone who is holding dual citizenship to denounce one or take the other one away and come and contest. There's timeline for it. And we've seen people that they were citizens of other countries, including Ghana, and they've left that citizenship, and now they are leading in government, and they are doing very well. So I think this is one of the clauses that they have to abandon.
But I want to ask.
I'll give
just by renouncing that, I renouncing my citizenship.
Yes.
Does it take away the so-called allegiance that you're talking about? That just by saying that, okay, I'm no longer a Canadian,
yes,
means that I will still not have that love you say, just by renouncing goes away, and therefore, if I have to leave Ghana for Canada, I will not do so just because I've renounced.
You take what? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the way you were, I thought you were asking.
Anyways, for the two of you.
Okay. The fact is that once you denounce the citizenship of the other country, you know very well that you will not be accepted easily
into them
like before.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Okay.
For instance, in Ghana, no matter whatever I do in Ghana, you can imprison me, you can beat me, you can do whatever to me, but you cannot deport me because I am a Ghanaian.
Okay.
Are you getting me? So if you lose the citizenship there, you know very well that if you mess with Ghana and you even run there, they can decide to deport you. But when you are holding the citizenship, they cannot deport you.
Okay.
That is a fact. And the second one is that when you have a problem and you run back to where you came from, Ghana can go through a process and bring you back.
Okay.
But if you are still holding the citizenship, even Oforiata that doesn't have citizenship, he's not a citizen of America. Look at how difficult it is for us to bring him home.
Okay. All right.
Are you getting me?
Okay.
But holding the citizenship in that particular country, then it will be a foregone conclusion to even bring him back.
Dr. John Osai-Kwapong, let me come to you. I understand Kofi Annan was a Swede as well. I don't know about that, but I'm told he was a citizen of Switzerland and Ghana. You look at Patrick Ewa as well. I mean, you live in the U.S., right? The two political parties in a representative say this recommendation to allow for people who hold dual citizenship to contest to become MPs must not hold. Do you agree with them? Where do you stand?
So, honestly, this is one of those issues that I stay away from engaging in only because the views and the passions on both sides, whether it is for or against it, are so strong, right, that you can't even find any sort of points of reconciliation. I mean, the status quo has provided a way out, which is if you're a citizen of another country, but originally from Ghana, and you want to come back and hold certain kinds of public offices, your way out is that you should denounce that other citizenship. But I think sometimes the topic arouses certain, passions, and the rhetoric gets to a place where, it makes you feel as though for not having remained in Ghana or holding dual citizenship puts you in a different category of you are not really Ghanaian or you are not that loyal to Ghana. So I tend to stay away from that conversation.
Okay, all right. Let me bring in Dr. Asante. Doc, where do you stand?
Yeah, before I come in, let me also chip in this before I come to that. The issue about the campaign, the other gentleman from MPP did say that, it will be difficult to separate campaign from discourse and all that. I want to ask him, is he campaigning down? If you are discussing issues, they are not campaign. But for purposes of this, let me read something to you, right? Campaign, this is the means by which candidates and political parties prepare and present their ideas and propositions on issues to voters in the period preceding elections. So campaigns are strictly different from discourse and all that. If we really want to engage in campaign, it's different from discourse. That is a fact. That said, let me also move on to the issue Honorable talk about the fact that he doesn't want some positions government should come in and then come to elect leaders and all that because it undermines the strict separation of powers. I want to say here that separations of powers doesn't exist anywhere in the world. It doesn't. It's a theoretical construct. All right. What it is that even in America, they have checks and balances. So you cannot, ascribe all powers to yourself without other, institution also playing a role to limit your powers. Okay. Otherwise, you go back to dictatorship and all that. And that is why when you read even Montesquieu, all right, who popularized this concept, he was also not oblivious of the fact that there must be there's a difficulty there. So even in America, there are checks and balances. So whilst you have the power to do ABC as a legislator, there are other institutions that also play a role that dovetails into your power to serve as a check on you because power corrupts and any absolute power will obviously corrupt absolutely.
Okay.
That is that. Dual citizenship, a very heated debate. I remember myself, Professor Koku Azai and Co. We had a long discussion on this on your network, Samson's show. My position on dual citizenship is that if you want to look at it, strictly speaking, the committee has recommended that for MP, you can hold a dual citizenship. All right. Yes. Then my question also that if somebody qualifies as an MP, all right, why can't you also, the president also be given the power to be a dual citizen? Is there any problem there? Is there any problem there? Because the qualification for an MP obviously is not different from qualification for a president.
But so the president is the commander-in-chief.
Yeah, why can't the president? Why can't the president also qualify under this as a dual citizen? Are you afraid of something? Whatever you are afraid of, I believe also is the case for those who argue that let not, people with dual citizenship become MPs, right? For me, that is where I'm coming from. Okay. You are afraid of what? The president is what? The commander-in-chief of the country's armed forces. Yeah. So if he's a dual citizen, what happens if the two countries where the person belongs to are at war, for instance? Where would his loyalty be and all that? All right. Issue of what divided loyalty comes in. The issue of dual citizenship, I believe that, look, yes, foreigner, those who have taken other nationalities and then they are still remitting their homes and all that, it is not enough to say that on that score, you qualify as an MP. I'm not sure. There are good reasons why the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they listed a whole lot of categories of people who are not qualified, positions that people cannot qualify to be in as dual citizens. So I still want to maintain the status quo that, strictly speaking, I'm not in favor of this type of provision that if you are a Ghanaian and you hold a dual citizenship in America, for instance, you can come to parliament and all that. Okay. It creates all manner of difficulties, issue of loyalty, issue of secrecy and all that. Imagine you are chairing the security committee in parliament and all that. There's a temptation, and the temptation to, want to support one country against the other. But the next logical question is that if you are not in that position, is it not the same case that you can also divulge information and all that? But the cure for it is that, yes, now we know that you are revealing state secrecy, secret to other people, and that one has its own consequence. Remember that if you occupy certain positions within government and all that, and you want to even take up certain positions in other jurisdictions, there must be an express written document in terms of letter from the government of the day about you before that position is given to you and all that. It gives you an idea that there are certain things we want to hold dear to our hearts. We are not prepared to let it go through position that we give people. Otherwise, then it makes a whole nonsense of state secrecy, loyalty clauses in what our legal regime and the rest of them.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful. You wanted to make a point. Just, okay.
Yes.
Our time is running fast. We need to also look at, because the economic fighters, they have an issue with some portions of the recommendations. So let me hear you 30 seconds and I'll get to the economic fighters.
I was just going to Doc's strict separation of powers. America is practicing it perfectly. And the fact is that there should be, once we are recommending that there should be strict separation of powers, then that means that even brings checks and balances. Are you getting me? That brings specific power limits. So if we are talking about specific power limit, then there is no need for them to have control over the leadership of parliament if we are practicing strict separation of powers. Because if they have control over who becomes the leader of or leaders of parliament, then definitely they have control of parliament. that means leadership is still under them. They recommended and they became leaders. And you see, that influence will always be there. So if you are practicing strict separation of powers,
everything should be
be
parliament.
strict. And it is done in America.
The party should stay away.
Yes.
Do your own things.
Just a quick one on what Doctor said about my submission on the campaign period. What name did he call me when he was addressing me right now?
What name? I didn't hear that.
He said the MPP man. Didn't you say that? If it's not campaigning, what is it? He should have addressed me as Alfred Thompson.
Okay, that's
because
fine.
you mentioned him at the beginning. So it tells you
let me come in.
That is fine.
Apologies.
Let me finish.
Apologies to
he
you.
has apologized.
No, it's
fine.
It's fine. I'm not saying you've done anything wrong. What I'm saying is that
you are campaigning.
It's a campaign.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
He identifies me as.
I'm grateful.
Those who are the party grassroots, when they listen to you, they feel that you are.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alfred Thompson.
Happy.
I'm grateful, but because of time, let's go into one matter. You know, one of the cash crops of Ghana is rubber. Now, the Rubber Farmers Association of Ghana, RUFAG, is saying that there are some attempts to block the exportation of raw rubber. And they are up in arms against that decision. Why? We're joined by the secretary of that association, Michael Nyako. Michael Nyako is joining us via Zoom. Mike, why are you fighting against this? If there are companies that process rubber in Ghana, why must we not, ban the exportation of the raw material from this country? Mike, if you can hear me, kindly unmute so we can hear what you're saying. Okay. Mike Nyako is with us on Zoom. Kindly unmute so you can hear what you're telling. If you heard my question, let's hear your response.
It's not coming.
Okay. I think there are still some challenges.
So once he's addressing, let's...
Okay, whilst they are addressing this issue, one of the issues with the constitutional review has to do with what the Economic Fighters League is pointing out. They say Ghana's democratic crisis is not merely about over-concentration of presidential power or inefficient governance. At its core, it is a crisis of representation. Millions of Ghanaians vote, yet remain unrepresented. Whole sections of society, youth, women, and people living with disabilities, participate in elections but are systematically locked out of decision-making. This is not accidental. It is the direct outcome of a first-past-the-post system that rewards money, entrenched party machines, and patronage networks, while pushing new entrants, minority voices, and non-elite candidates. For this reason, we must assert that while the CRC has correctly acknowledged the exclusion exists, in seeking to mitigate the situation, the recommendations did not go far enough. Yeah, Honorable, let me start with you. What's your take on this? That they feel that there should have been more voice given to, minority groups, persons with disability, children and women, youth and women, for example.
Okay. Thank you very much. Their concern is legitimate, and it's not like government is, especially our government, it's not like we are not doing anything about it. We appreciate the fact that we cannot just move from 0 to 100. But looking at it, people living with disability, the LEAP program, you realize that we've increased the amount.
Okay, no, let me try Mike Nyako again and see. Mike, do I have you? Okay. Looks like the challenge still persists.
You see, the amount that this 2025 alone, we've increased it, the one we give for the LEAP program, to the various district assemblies. And you realize that...
No, they know all of that. They are talking about the constitutional review,
yes,
where they were looking forward to the review committee giving a lot of voice to youth, women, and PWDs. For example, youth, you can say that they've reduced the age limit for the president to 30 years.
Yes.
So maybe that could be there.
That is
in
the
terms
point.
of women,
that is the point I'm making.
Okay.
Already, the provisions are clear on people living with disability and women and children. That is why we even have a whole ministry. A whole ministry. If they say that, because before they will come out with that, that means maybe we are not doing enough. That is why I started from where talking about the government. And you realize that even this year, now, people living with disability at the university level, they are going to be schooled free. Where the only thing is to apply and take your admission and go to school.
But does that mean they have a voice in the governance of this country?
They have a voice.
Where?
But that is why I said, if it is not adequate, if they think that they don't have adequate voice, that one is okay. Recently, they met president.
Okay.
And heard what they met president and gave out whatever they are facing as people living with disabilities. They heard everything to president. They heard everything. Even minister, they met minister on it.
Right.
So if they are saying it is not adequate, fair enough, I agree.
Thank you.
But there's still room for improvement.
Alfred, because of time, let me give you 30 seconds so I can give 30 seconds to the guys on council.
Yeah, we understand the call they are doing. I think government will have an ear for them. If there is a challenge, they should sit down and negotiate it, because that's where they are also making their income from. Unless they will put it like how the cocoa is going and give them world market prices. Other than that, I think they would be suffering some serious financial difficulties there.
All right.
So government should work with them to see how they can collaborate and make it a possibility.
All right then. Dr. Kwame Asante, let me come to you.
Yeah.
30 seconds on this.
The solution lies in areas such as what? The proposed, proportional representation. These are where vulnerable groups are going to be captured and their interest will be in parliament for redress of some of these issues. So that proportional representation takes care of the vulnerable groups, the poor groups, and the groups that need more support. Remember also, apart from parliamentary representation, we have policies and programs that are tailored towards the need of specialized groups within our society. And over the years, yes, even though we have not done that much, but we have seen programs that have been crafted by political parties and for that matter government that address some of these challenges.
Thank you very much. Dr. Osai Sapon.
So same thing. Their concerns are legitimate. If we can't put everything in the Constitution, as Dr. Asante said, there are also policies and programs that can accommodate for the needs of these special and other vulnerable groups in society. But it is a legitimate concern that they raise.
Dr. John Osai-Kwapong, I'm grateful to you for joining us here, CDD Fellow. Dr. Kwame Asante is a lecturer at the University of Ghana. Thank you for joining. Alfred Thompson is a member of the NPP's Communications Directorate. And then Bila Alamzi is MP for Chana Paga. Well, this one says, the Constitution Review Committee has undertaken a comprehensive review, but I respectfully disagree with the proposed separation of executive appointment from Parliament. This could potentially lead to a loss of talented individuals. Furthermore, I suggest that the concept of a campaign period be reconsidered and potentially removed. It also strikes me as odd that Dr. Asante has selectively highlighted the Kufuor administration's appointment of numerous special assistants, whilst overlooking the fact that similar appointments were made under the Atamils and Mahama governments. Notably, individuals such as Felix Kwacho Fusu and others began their careers as personal assistants or aides in 2009 during the Atamils Mahama administration. Manja Bruce II brought this one in from Takoradi. Okay.